Street gospel, light up the tempo. Sword swing, killer live from the ghetto. The hood messenger, let them know hell's close. Blackberry, oh, the devil in a black cloak.
Yo, what is up? Welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. I'm your host, Dave One, and this is episode number... Yo, Cam, what episode is this?
100. Woo.
Episode number 100. Man. Hey, man, it's been a good run. So we got a little bit over 100 episodes, right? So we got some episodes that are via Zoom, over the internet episodes. Very, very good episodes. But in studio, 100 episodes. That's pretty. See, me and Camel don't do this full time. We I wouldn't say we're part timers. We got full time jobs, but we do this, and to get to 100, it has been. I never thought. Did you ever think we get to 100? I never thought we'd get to 100. You start something like this, and you get to this point, and you just keep going. It adds up. There's been times where we didn't have a guest cancel. Life happens. Cam starts working full time. That's my engineer. Cam gets a girlfriend. I'm like, what am I going to do now? Things just don't line up all the time, but we got to episode number 100. So I want to thank everybody out there that subscribes to the channel. Everybody that's, liked the post, everybody that's checked out an episode. We appreciate it. We love you guys out there. It has been truly a great run, and we hope to get another 100 in. So we love you guys out there. If you haven't watched episode 99, good episode. I had a very good guest. Probably my favorite guest of all time, Cam's mom. I had Melissa on the podcast, talked some relationship, talked some marriage. Seems like people out there like that. So we really had a good time, talked about our life. So definitely a good time. But today, man, I'm fired up about this guest, man, because when I was talking to him a little while ago, when you start a podcast, you kind of I don't care what you say, you kind of have like a list, and you put people on the list, and you got people that are probably, you think, I can get these people because they're friends, them, and then you have another list that's like, man, that would be nice to get that person, like that would be a dream. So I think initially, I think this guy was like a dream guest. Like, if I can get this guy, it'd be great. And then that it started getting closer to the middle there, right? I think things started getting closer to the middle, and we started having some contact. But I am very happy to have on the Street Gospel Podcast. I mean, not only is this guy a believer, he is a father, he is a husband, he is a Jiu Jitsu black belt, he's a UFC fighter, but he's an all-around good dude. I want to welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast, Mr. Brian Ortega. What is up, brother?
What's going on, brother? And thank you for having me, man.
Thank you for coming through.
It's an honor to be the 100th guest.
Hey, bro. That was huge, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, me and Kevin were talking about, like, you have the 100th episode special to us. We're like, man. And, I'm just a believer, like, things work out for the best, and to have you on the 100th episode makes it even special, man. So I appreciate it. We couldn't just have some random, you know what I mean? I'm just going to say it right now. We just couldn't have some random on the podcast, bro.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Because I've been hearing about you for a while now.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I had like one of my agents, Julian, was like, hey, man, come do this podcast.
Oh.
And then someone's like, hey, man, come do this podcast. And then sometimes I see it pop up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because you get hit up by a lot of people,
Sure.
so you don't know it's like
Yeah.
what it is. So you kind of just,
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, why is street gospel? Why is it always like, it's right in my face all the time? And I'm like, you know what? Let me see what's up. And I was like, oh, all right, I should have hit you guys up sooner.
Dope, man. Things work out for a reason, man.
Yeah.
And the timing was, like I said, was perfect, man. Like I couldn't, I was thinking, 2 weeks ago, I was like, man, like I have 100 episode coming up, man. It'd be dope to get somebody special. And appreciate you coming out, man. Definitely T-City in the house.
Thank
brother.
you for having me, brother. Thank you for having me.
And he came all the way from the South Bay, man. I mean, it was no joke. We were just like laughing because I was like, yeah, man. T-City hits me up. He's like, bro, if I leave right now, it's going to take me 2 hours to get to your house. And I was like, yeah, man, LA traffic is horrible. Let's try to work out a better time. So we found a good time, and I appreciate you making it happen, bro.
No, thank you, bro. Yeah, you know it is. Traffic sucks, bro.
I mean, yeah.
It's either do I want to sit in traffic for an hour or 5?
Exactly. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like the time you leave, like 30 minutes, if you leave in this window of if I leave 30 minutes later, it's going to be like an hour and a half longer in traffic. It's so crazy the way LA works out.
I have some guys who live in Fontana who film for me. And we have like a good thing going, and every time we meet probably once a week or once every 2 weeks. It's always the same thing. They're like, bro, we'll see you at this time. And I'm like, no, not 12, bro. I want to see you guys at 3. They're like, no, we'll be at your house at 12.
Yeah, man.
Now I see why.
It gets rough, man. It gets rough. LA traffic is crazy. So you grew up in it would be considered LA, but it's LA. I think people that live outside of LA doesn't understand. LA has a lot of sections.
It's
LA,
big.
It's big, right?
It's big.
And when you say you live, like you go somewhere, I always laugh because I always tell everybody I can't say where I'm actually from because they're like, where's that? But if you say you're from LA, then they go, oh, okay. But if you're from LA, you know that there's 100 places you can be from. You can be from East LA, South Central. I'm from Southeast LA.
All right.
You can be from the Valley even, but South Bay, it's not, I would say it's not as popular as some of these other areas, right? But it has its own culture.
One more, there's South Bay and then there's HA, right?
Oh,
I'm in the
Harbor area.
I'm in the HA
The
side.
Harbor area.
I'm at the end of the 110, all right? That's what we call it. You got the end of the 110. You got Pasadena.
Pedro.
You got Pasadena and you got Pedro.
Right.
And I'm there in that area.
All the way down.
Yeah.
So Harbor areas, it's a whole nother thing.
It's a whole nother thing.
Right. It's a whole
But
nother
it's
thing.
still all LA County, you know?
Right. What makes HA different, bro?
Different from what?
Than the rest of LA.
It's the same, bro.
You think it's the same?
It's the same, bro. Everywhere you got different neighborhoods. You got different this. You got this person, these people, east, west, here, this, that. It's the same thing. There's different faces to it.
You believe that the culture is all the same wherever you go, the neighborhood culture?
They're a little bit different as in terms of the way they talk.
Right.
And whatever, and the way they do their politics or the way they live their life. But for the most part, I've always found it all the same, bro. You put me in any room or any neighborhood, I end up talking the same language
because it's a vibe, right?
It's a vibe, man.
Yeah,
and you kind of you can see it.
Yeah,
you could tell right off the bat, like, oh, okay, this guy,
real recognize real.
Yeah,
I mean that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
I think, you know right away, you know the connection you make with somebody, you know where they're from, what the vibe is, and you get along really good.
Yeah,
I think it's crazy because when I was a kid, like we didn't have a lot of money, right? So it was crazy because my dad, we grew up in Bell, Cudahy, Huntington Park, Southeast LA, and so like our little getaway, believe it or not, was like San Pedro, Redondo. So my dad would take us like down there, like we go to the Sunken City, and we
all right, yeah,
like as kids, and then we go to the tide pools down there, and that was like vacation for us. That was like field trip day. That was like, it's so crazy because I was familiar with, the
area,
Vincent Thomas Bridge, and going over the bridge and things like that. And of course they have a new one now, but the old one, it's just like, those were areas I was familiar with. So it's crazy because it's not, I tell everybody this, it's not like super far. If you think about it, like where we were from, get on the 710, go to the 91, 110, and then you're there.
Yeah.
But I think when you're a kid, it seems like it's a million miles away, right?
A lot of things look different when you're a kid.
Look different when you're a kid, man. You just kind of go yeah, man. But we would go down there, bro, and it was fun. It was
beautiful,
fun.
man. It's beautiful out there.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. You go down, it's a bunch of graffiti on the rocks, but you go down there and everything. It's dope. It's beautiful. It's very scenic. It's very scenic.
It's a trip because I remember taking my kids there when they were little because there was this thing, Angels Gate Park, the Korean Bell, just going down there, and then it was like, but it was a different place. But I think that area, it's different. Even if you have the beach areas, it's that those beaches are not like LA type beaches or Malibu or Santa Monica. It has its own vibe, like a working class kind of beach area, I would say, right?
Yeah, you could tell that they are different.
Yeah, great.
Just look around.
Yeah,
and then you see people walk in, and you kind of get the gist of who's there and who's not.
Yeah. What was life for you growing up? How was it?
Oh, man, that's a what do you mean?
That's a loaded
question. Man.
I know your dad. He's from Mexico, right?
Both of my parents are from Mexico.
So you're first generation here.
I'm first generation here.
Yeah, and then so your dad migrated here, started a life in Pedro.
So no, my dad migrated here, and he was in LA.
Okay,
I forgot exactly what part of LA. Then he went back to Mexico. Then he got snuck back in, and was like, that's it. I'm staying here. And he stayed in Wilmington. He was in Wilmington in an apartment with like 10 guys.
Wow.
And all 10 of them pitch in and they all pay the rent. Like I don't even know. I think it's like a 1-bedroom apartment. And then he started working. And then he's finally said, hey, you know what? I'm not going back home empty-handed. He had his pride where he was like, I refuse to lose. Because a lot of people would come, they would work. Things would get tough. People would get racist or whatever, or we'd be on the street or what, things like that, and they would go back saying, "Nah, never mind." It's too,
Right,
they would go,
right.
It's more comfortable back at home, although
yeah.
it sucks. My pops refused when he first, and then when he came here, his first job was at Fat Burger right there in Redondo Beach. He was on the sand sleeping,
Wow.
homeless, and he met all these other guys through working. Found out that a lot of them were in a similar situation. So then they all got together. They stayed in Wilmington and like I said, 10 guys in one apartment. After that, he called my mom up. He was like, hey, I ain't coming back. I know I keep sending you money. I send my parents money and I keep some money for myself, but I'm going to fully do this. So either you come with me and do it with me or it's over. And then my mom hopped on, and she lived in Redondo Beach in an apartment with like 10 girls as well.
Wow.
So it was like they were together, but my mom lived somewhere else and my dad lived somewhere else. And then that's how it all started.
And you talk about sink or swim.
Yeah.
literally, we're like we're all in, and
That's it.
we're gonna either die here or that's it.
Yeah.
I think. Do you get some of that in your? Is that where you get your resiliency? I mean, we've seen it in the ring. We've seen it in your life. You haven't quit. You've had a hard life. Is that where some of that comes from?
That's where it was taught. Hearing stories about them growing up and seeing everything that they've accomplished, which is right now they have a home. All of us are grown up now. We all have our kids. There's a total of 8 grandkids now.
Wow.
And we're kind of, besides my aunt and my cousins here, we were like just us. So the fact that we have, one aunt and 3 cousins and 1 uncle here is like, that's all the family we kind of have here.
Wow.
So all our family's in Mexico. So that feels really, really good to see all the work that they've done.
Yeah.
The courage that it took for him to say, you know what, I'm gonna take off on my own. No help from mom, no help from dad. No, I either figure it out or I don't. So that, yeah, I have a lot of that in me.
It's amazing when you really look at it how that decision, affects your sons now, your family.
Yeah,
and how it's literally 1 generation away. That is crazy. If you think of your kids, I'm sure, I'm sure they have their own room. We were laughing about what they eat and how they're they're making you broke by how much they eat.
For real, bro.
And you think about that, and then you
drink that?
yeah. And then you think about that, and it was just one generation ago, their grandfather was sleeping on the sand in an apartment with 10 dudes and trying just to survive.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Well, you know what? They didn't fully get a red carpet either, though. My kids. I didn't leave the nest till I was like 28. So I lived in a back house of my parents' house, and it was just the trippiest thing ever because the place was, I mean, yeah. I don't want to talk down on it, right? But it was small, man.
Yeah.
It's literally a little kitchen, a little tiny restroom.
Were you living there with
I was living there with you know, the mother of my children and my children.
Wow.
And it was just, that's it. We would, I guess at that time I was younger, so it was like, we would call it playhouse, right? I guess.
Yeah.
Because you like, in my head I was like, I'm providing for everyone, but really, as a man, you want to do better.
Sure.
But yeah, I stayed there till I was 28, man, and we had this. Probably we slept in a room this big.
Dang.
Yeah, one bed and the two of their little beds, and we just shared the whole space with the TV. Had a mini little restroom and a mini kitchen, and somehow we made it happen because of my parents.
Yeah.
So they grew up all the way like that up to till I was 28. Then finally that's when I was already fighting Max and everything, and I had money, you know, but I saved everything.
Right.
And so they kind of had it. They didn't have it all laid out for them, but
yeah, they seen the hard times too.
They seen some hard times.
Yeah. And I think that's good sometimes, man. I think it's good. I think a lot of I'm grateful my kids know. You know, I remember when they were little, we would take them to my great grandma's house in South LA. They seen how they were brought up. I know their grandparents shared with them stories of their life and how they grew up. And I think it's important sometimes to let our kids know that, man. Like, hey, man, this is where we came from. Like, don't take advantage. You're gonna have to work hard too. I mean, it's a hard thing as a parent though, because you want to give them more, and you want, I'm sure you're like me. You probably didn't get the best shoes, and then when you start buying your kids Jordans and Vans and stuff, and you're like, dang, I never had that stuff. And then you think, like, do I really want to give them that? But you're kind of like have this mixed feeling about it. Like, I don't want them to get too spoiled on this stuff, but I do want to give them better.
Yeah, I've been lucky. I think because they saw that growing up, and I've always been not the type to spoil you, anyways. Like you said, you have the mentality where if you spoil your child too much, you ruin them.
Yeah.
And that even says it in the Bible, right? If you love your child, discipline them in everything.
Right.
So I've already, even before I was involved with God, right?
Yeah.
That was still my mentality. Because I remember hard times make strong men, strong men make easy times make weak men.
Yep.
Weak men make hard times.
Yep.
So that's the cycle. So I said, I don't want my kids to be the next step of that cycle. So I said, I'm going to give you guys a hard time too, as in terms of work ethic wise. Will you have food? Yes. Will you have shoes? Yes. Will you have some cool Nikes and stuff? Yeah. But will you have all the shoes like a lot of kids? Nope.
Will you have some chores?
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part to get them to do right now. Right. Yeah.
What was your father like growing up with you? Was he like that? Was he a disciplinarian?
Yeah.
Was he hard?
He was hard.
Try to make you hard.
Define make me hard.
Like I think there's dads that have an intention. They love their children, but they only know one way, and it's like, hey, I had it rough. I became a man because I had to work, or he had to sacrifice. Hey, listen, you're gonna have to, step it up, and that's kind of the way they show their love a little bit. Was he kind of in that realm, or was he trying to balance like me and you do with a little bit of love, a little bit of tough love, or was he just all tough love?
I want to say it was like us, but at his capability. You know? Because you always get two different perspectives. I always say, hey, man, you were rough on me, man. You beat me, you this. And he's like, man, bro, you should have seen how I grew up.
Yeah.
He's like, you got beat twice a week. I got beat 7 days a week. So I feel like that was his balance for it. So once I got to know my grandfather, and I would get left in Mexico for a whole summer because I couldn't be here because they worked and muy travieso, you know, like in the street, they would call the cops in the house all the time.
Oh man.
So, and not because I was like a bad, but I'll be the one kid in the neighborhood jumping on everyone's roofs,
Sure,
shooting birds with a pellet gun in the middle of the street. And to me, it was normal, but other people were like, "Hey, what the hell is this kid doing?
Right?
He's gonna fall. He's gonna do something. Whatever. Like, desmadroso, I guess the word is, or I don't know what it is. To me, I was just bored.
Yeah,
and I had no internet, so
it's different time.
I had to do different things. I build a ramp. I do this. You find different ways to entertain yourself.
Right.
And they would call the cops, and the cops would show up, and there's no adult there.
Yeah.
So the neighbor would be like, "No, I'm taking care of them," and then they would leave, and then my neighbors were like, "Hey, dude, like, I keep giving your back. I got your back with your kid, but come on, man."
Right.
And both of my parents had to work to do that. So I would get sent to Mexico. I got to see how my grandpa was, and he would hit us all the time. And I was like, damn, man, my dad was raised with you. And then I was like, this is a nicer version of you. I wonder what the young version of you looked like.
Wow.
So then that's when I kind of understood the line there. But I feel to his capability, the way he was raised, he did what I'm doing now. You know?
Yeah.
Which is, I'm trying to give you guys this and that. And to my kids, I can't really say that I've ever hit them, other than like a scare with a belt or whatever. But to really hit them, nah.
Yeah, I love what you said about to the capabilities, right? I say that a lot. You know, me and Melissa, my wife, we've talked about our parents and how they were brought up.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of young people nowadays, they blame their parents for everything, right? And my parents this, they didn't do this, they don't do that, they don't. But if you really look at how your parents were brought up, like and the things they experienced, you kind of get a different perspective on their life and how they parented you. Like when, I'm not saying like some bad parent that, beats up their kids, breaks a bottle over their head or whatever, or locks them in the room and whatever. I'm not saying that, but when you think about the capacity of they have, like when you say, okay, well, my father didn't grow with a dad. He grew with a mom that was, on drugs. He's the oldest. He raised his 5 brothers. Like, yeah, that wasn't he didn't do a bad job with me. Like that was pretty good considering where he came from, right? And my wife said the same thing about her parents. Like, man, considering where they came from, like they did a pretty good job. I think for us as parents, it's probably like, well, our job is to improve upon them, right? Like, okay, so everything I didn't like that they did, then I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just going to love them for that capacity, like you said, or capabilities, and then I'm going to improve upon it for my kids. And then hopefully, as the generations go on, it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
So I think that perspective is great, bro, because I think a lot of people, blame parents for everything, and sometimes we just make our own mistakes.
But I even caught myself, too, in other interviews before when I get asked a kind of similar question, right, with your upbringing. And the first thing was for me, like, yeah, my dad was cold. My dad always hit me, and he was very silent in this. And then, but that was me being very judgmental towards him. Now I'm more curious. So when my curiosity beat my judgment, that's when my perspective changed. When it was like, instead of you did this, it was like, how come you did this? Hey, man, how come you always used to hit me? He's like, what are you talking about? I never hit you. Like, I'm like, all right, debate number 1. Let's go. Let's go. I was like, listen, man, to me, getting hit twice and going to school and realizing that these kids don't get hit, that was a trip. He's like, yeah, but you deserved it. I said, yeah, you're right. But why, though? Well, I got hit, I got hit growing up every day. Why are you complaining? I said, okay, I see your mentality. And I have to be able to shut up and listen, not fight back right off the bat.
Right.
And then I'm like, all right, cool, man. Well, how was it growing up? Like, why did he hit you, Dad? He goes, he would just come home in a bad mood and whatever. And if I left whatever, if I did this, he would just hit me. And he had like 9 of us, 10 of us. And we all slept in this. And he kind of just explained everything. And he's like, bro, I didn't even have shoes.
Wow.
He said, I'm not one of these kids that grew up in Mexico with shoes. I grew up without shoes my whole life. My feet were so callous in the desert sun that I couldn't even feel nothing. You could stick nopales. I couldn't walk on cactuses, and I wouldn't feel nothing at the bottom of my feet. They were so thick and callous. So then I started getting this, okay, so you're not only callous from your feet, but you're callous from your life. And then you coming here, this is the softest version of you that I'll ever get. This is me now with my kids where I'm like, I'm soft. As in terms of, I'm not going to do what they did to me, right?
Right.
And then I got to understand them more, and I was like, you know what, man, I love you, bro. Because at the end of the day, they chose to try, right? There's parents who, and like you said, you know what? Yeah, you were like this, but we came out all right. It's because they were trying. As long as a parent's always trying, to me, that's what my respect. I give them my respect, because I have seen situations with my friends where their parents don't even care about them. They stop trying to be parents. They're like, you guys just, oh well, rot in the city or whatever. I don't even care about you guys no more. Other than the basic minimum of feed you and this and that and just give you a hard time. I've seen parents quit, and I'm like, man, it sucks that life beats you up that much that you know, it's hard to fight for your own kid. And there's understanding in that as well, but at least I'm happy that I was on this side, on the parents that were always trying. So that, to me, that's where it's like, all right.
Wow, man.
I love that a lot. I'd rather take this than, like you see, you know, there's some parents who just, life just got to them too much and they shut down.
Right. Do you think there was, as you got older, like you started seeing that, and maybe you talked about seeing it, but was there some forgiveness for your dad that you said, you know,
oh yeah,
I forgive you, you know, where it's like, I understand. I mean, there's an understanding of where they came from and how they were brought up, but in that understanding, there's also some forgiveness where you're like, okay, I forgive you. Yeah. And it sounds like your dad recognized that in his own life too, which helps that forgiveness where you're able to go, okay, there's some parents out there would be like, well, no, I was a great parent, too bad, you know, but maybe your dad said, hey, this is the way I was brought up. This is the only thing I knew. I mean, you can kind of like take that and go like, got you, you know, I forgive you.
Yeah. Yeah. I even so, I think it's not even someone who takes accountability. It's someone who just lets you know, like, because there's some like, oh, well, I was raised like this, so I'm gonna raise you that way. To me, that's you're escaping accountability. And then there's him who I understood more, because it's like, hey, bro, I don't know any better. I'm genuinely, I thought I was raising you right this whole time.
Wow.
I didn't even know that my life was bad over here. This is just what I know. So to me, at least from that, I'm like, that's more truthful.
Yeah.
Than, oh, well, you know, than excuses. And then even for and forgiving him, that's still something that I still do it.
Yeah.
I can't, like, not that long ago, I was talking to my mom, and something came up about me and him. And then she was just like, let it out. And I was like, nah, I'm all right. She's like, let it out. I was like, and I just started talking with her a little bit. She was like, yeah, you're right. And even her now is telling me, like, yeah, you are right about that situation. That was wrong what your dad put you through, and the places that he took you when you were young, and this and that, and the things you had to see. But it wasn't until I got older and I did something similar, and I'm like, okay, I see why you did what you did. You're trying to balance two things at the same time, and it just doesn't work. You're trying to live your best life, and you're trying to be a parent. So you take your kid out with you, and it's like, then they're seeing grown-up stuff that they're not supposed to, and you're thinking you're doing your job because, hey, at least he's with me, but the things they're seeing are affecting them. So then it wasn't until I put my son in a similar situation, and he actually brought it up to me the other day, that made me like, it almost like I felt like it was God saying like, see, be humble. Be humble.
That's one thing about kids, man. They'll humble you quick.
Yeah, because my son was like, hey, remember when you took me out and we were at that party, Dad? And I was like, oh, great. He's like, yeah, those girls started fighting in the living room. Remember, they were getting down? And I was just like, oh, bro. I was like, why are you bringing this up?
Yeah.
But then it was
a reminder of how far you come.
Yeah, but yeah.
It sucks that you make a mistake, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as parents, we all make mistakes. You know, even when we think we don't make mistakes, our kids will constantly, not constantly, but will remind us about the mistakes we've made. And I do think it's sometimes God reminding us to be humble. You haven't arrived. You haven't arrived yet. Yeah, you haven't arrived yet, man. I think, man, that's some good perspective, man. Definitely. You've been known to be like a neighborhood guy, and when I talk about the neighborhood, I think LA people know, hood people know what I'm talking about. Were you really like out there? You know, I know you're from the Harbor area. I heard that you weren't from an actual gang, but you were from, when you grew up in a neighborhood, you're just kind of like, you just become part of that neighborhood either way. I mean, how bad did that get for you when you were coming up?
This is where I'm having a hard time sometimes letting some people know. And this is where my pride comes in, right? Mm-hmm. We were taggers, but we sucked at graffiti, but we were good at fighting. So then we started tag banging. We became so deep that it was about 50 of us, all posted up on a corner, you know, at where we hung out and everything, and we rolled deep. Again, you know, another neighborhood came by. They said, "Hey, man, we're gonna bless you guys to have your own chapter, but you're gonna be part of this, and we're gonna bless you guys and everything." And we said no. So they pulled up on us again. They were strapped up. We were strapped up, and we had a little. We had a, I don't know, like a showdown, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But it was us refusing to give in. That's one thing that I take pride off of, but it also led to a lot of pain and suffering because we said no to them. They said, "No, you guys are joining." I said, No, we're not. Why do I got to take orders from you? Why do I got to take orders from someone inside who's going to tell me what to do when I never met him? Who, when I do get inside, he ain't really going to take care of me. Mm. And for as young as we understood that. So we stood on our business. We said, no, we ain't doing it. And then they hopped out. We hopped out. Well, what's up? We can do this right now too. Nothing happened. But after that, we got the green light from every neighborhood in the HA, whether it was Wilmington, Carson, Arbor City. Wow. Everyone had it out for us. And then when they did something, we would retaliate. So then that's when everyone goes, who are these guys? And we took pride off of that. We said we're the ones that went against the grain. And at that time, it felt good because we did feel different and we felt respected. But then slowly but surely, everyone started falling off. They got this guy here. They got this guy. This guy got locked up for this. And then by the time you know it, all the numbers ran. They ran pretty small. And then they got us. The 13, they got us. They took us out to where that was it. We weren't a threat anymore.
I think most people that hear that don't understand. But when you grow up in LA, that scenario almost goes back in almost every neighborhood, right? Every neighborhood has experienced that. I mean, I can go back to, I asked my grandfather, like, who, he showed me a picture of guys and they're playing football. And then they become like a little slight gang, but it's not really a gang. It's just guys that grew up in the same blocks, in the same neighborhood, went to elementary school together, You start going through junior high together, getting in trouble. You form your little crew,
little family,
right? And then you're like, you just start growing up together. And then when somebody from the outside comes in, you're like, nah, man, this is our place. I think, like you said, the tag banging thing was like huge. Because that was like an era where you just want to do graffiti. No big deal. We just want to do graffiti. And then it started getting into tag banging where you're not gang banging, but you're starting to fight and battle other crews. And it's not battling on the wall, it's battling in the street.
Yeah.
And I think that's a perfect example of what happens. And then you start forming a gang, whether it's, I don't know what you want to call it, a real gang or just a group of guys. Yeah. But then you get labeled, and then it becomes a type of gang.
Yeah, then it becomes for real. And you grew up, so you know how it is. You get the tag bangers, and eventually they graduate to gang banging,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then there's the real taggers who stay the taggers, who you just see them. They're always in their own world with their cans, and they're just
right.
They're living their life.
Still doing art.
Yeah, they're still doing art at like 30, 40 years old. Yeah. They don't care. They're still hanging. They're the real ones that really did it for the art, the love of the art. And then there's the ones who, they use it as a stepping stone to go up.
Yeah.
We were just us.
Yeah.
I didn't care about the art, but I didn't care about the banging either. We just, like you said, we had our crew, our families at the time. All of us were going through something. So I always say we kind of trauma bond love each other. We just all found each other in the mess, and that was it. And then obviously, if they go through it, I'm gonna go through it. If they get in a fight, I'm gonna get in a fight. To me, they became my brothers, my cousins, because I didn't have family here. So then after that, that's everything just spiraled down, and it led us to a lot of problems.
I think when you don't have, you said your parents are working, you don't have no other family, you naturally gravitate to whoever's around you. And in that time, in my time too, growing up, you're outside. You're outside. You're not inside playing video games, watching Netflix. You're outside having a good time. And you grow up with these guys, and then you start hanging out. And of course, trouble always seems to find you some way, somehow.
Yeah.
Did you get in a lot of serious trouble?
Define serious.
Arrested, maybe your life threatened, or maybe just trouble, constant.
Well,
more than
when
that
happened,
just a knucklehead trouble, a little bit above that.
When that happened, they try to gun us all down. So no matter where you went, even including neighborhoods next door to you, even ones you grew up with, it was green light everywhere for us. I remember fighting in this place in Eastside Torrance, and I fought there, and it's called the Hangar. It was on 227th and Normandy, on 228th, and I fought there, and right off the bat, I fought someone from La Rana, and they happened to be related to the ones up there,
Yeah.
So sure enough, after the fight, they come try to get at me, and I said, "Hey man, it's just a fight, bro." I said, "It ain't even like that." Whatever. The cousin or the guy I fought is like, "Hey, Unc, hey, trust me, it ain't like But they're already in that place trying to get me. The second I walk out, some guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but he was like, "Hey, bro, just so you know, they heard that you're here, so they're coming to get you."
Wow.
And I said, "What you mean, man?" He's like get out of here right now. He said, "Because you're the homie's cousin, whatever. I'm whatever, but I'm letting you know right now, like, you stay here, it's over." So I dipped into my car. I hit in, and then you just see everyone kind of go in there and stuff like that. And then that was all the time, man. Little stories like that. They were all the time. We're always getting shot at, or you're always escaping.
Did you like that street life? Did it attract you? I mean, honestly,
it was.
Or was it just a part of life?
It was something that I felt I could have left, but I decided not to. Because at that point it was, well, you want to come get me, I'm going to come get you too. So then it became a war. And when it comes to war, I don't care whether I bang or not, I ain't going to back down. And then I just got to be smart about how we go about it.
Did you know the consequences of not backing down?
I mean, we went to a lot of funerals, man. I knew the consequences. I seen a lot of homies get locked up. They're still locked up right now. I knew everything.
And you were sold out basically for this.
At that time, you can't get out really. It's my pride,
right?
I didn't want to look down upon as a punk or, and I didn't want to be a lame.
Right. Did you slightly break away, or did you just one day just say this is enough, or what was the turning point for you?
I beat a 5-year case. I got locked up on my 18th birthday, and I beat a 5-year stretch. And that kind of was like a wake up call where it was like, bro, I could have been here till I was 23. I'm like, bro. Then I kind of really sat down, I'm like, do I want to be in there? You see Twin Towers and you see this and you see the people that are in there, and then you can only imagine, at least for me, because I can't speak about that life. I never did it too much in there, right? But this ain't me, man. I'm down for my stuff, but I ain't grimy like this. You guys are too. To me, there was a separation. I'm down for my stuff, but I ain't grimy and dirty to where I do things like you guys do. Mm. You could tell, to me, I still had some good in here, and I didn't lose it. The people that I met in there, or even met in general around that world, they were completely gone. Where you look at them, there's just no light inside of them. At least the crew that I was with, we had light, and we were still good, but we were just down for our stuff. And that's when I realized, nah, I don't want to go down there. And then by that time, they already took a lot of us out. And I met a coach who said, hey, man, if you train with me, I'll stick you in fighting so you can have things to do. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
Were you already a good fighter?
I was already 11-0 as an amateur. Mm. Yeah, 11-0 as an amateur, all submissions.
So you're already doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I was already doing my thing. And I lived 2 lives.
That's what I was gonna say right now. I lived
2 lives.
So you were seen. I mean, I know you're tied to the Gracies. You've seen where jiu-jitsu could probably take you.
Yeah.
And then you see where the neighborhood could take you. And how are you balancing both? Henner, Hedon, and them, they have a strict regiment. I mean, this is what we do. They generations. Then you're over here gangbanging, and then how did you balance that between the two?
I was a two-face. That was literally all I could tell myself, man. I would go in there and I'd be a jiu-jitsu guy, and then I'd go back out there, and it's like, here I am.
What were they telling you? They had to have known.
Hedon didn't like me at all. Hedon tried to kick me out. Hedon was always like, get Brian out of here at that time.
Because
of everything.
Of just the other lifestyle. I'm sure in the gym you're respectful.
Very respectful, bro. Right. If in the gym you couldn't tell who I was. I have no tattoos. I have nothing. Unless you hear me talk and I start kind of coming out. But that's why I was very quiet. It was my dad was in the just shut up, do your work, train, and help people out once I got a free ride from Henner. But it was Henner. I tell Henner all the time. I'm like, bro, if it wasn't for you being patient or listening to me, I would have been, who knows where I would have been. Mm. But I would go in there and I would talk to Henner. Be like, yeah, man, we just gonna fight with these people or whatever. We did this and that. Or Torrance PD would come and arrest me from a fight, and then I would go to the Gracies, and then I would sit there and I'm like with the cop, and he's like, tell him what you did. I was like, I was fighting, bro.
Wow.
And then he was like, well, why this and that? So every time I got in trouble, the cops that caught me at that time would take me to the Gracies, and I would talk to Henner, or they would talk to Henner, or they would let me go, and I would just end up getting hey, Brian. I'm like, oh, damn. I'm like, what's up, man? Sit down. And I know his tone, so I already knew, okay, he's going to tell me something. And then so I was like, what's up with this? What happened over here? How come so-and-so was calling me, telling me that, like, hey, bro, check this out. and I would talk to him, and he would just give me a safe place to talk. No, it was no judgment. It was nothing. It was smooth correction. It was, hey man, don't you think you should stop doing that? And I'm always giving him like the, yeah, bro, but you don't know how it is for me. I said, you get to go home and life is good over there for you. I said, I get to go home and I'm being hunted. I'm always with a target on my back. So whether I like it or not, I'm not looking for things. Things are coming to me now because of my decisions. So I have to stand on it. And I would go in there and I would train, and he's like, as long as you keep that stuff out of here, then we're good. I said, all right, cool. I said, there's nothing to bring in here other than the white gi, and we can train, and that's it. I don't care to talk to anyone about any of my problems anyways. So that's what it was. I would go in there and I would train, and honestly, that allowed me to get a lot of frustration out, a lot of anger that I had in. I would just grab people and choke them and squeeze them, and it's like the perfect place to do it. You know how they have those rooms where you get to break TVs?
Yeah.
That was my room. I go in there and you're like, oh, you're 240? You think you're tough? Let's go. And then he would throw me around, and I would go in there and I would choke him out, and then I'd fight and tap him out after 5, 6, 7 minutes. And then he's like, damn, you're tough. And I'm like, I'm getting started. What's up? Let's go. Wow. I have a lot of anger and feel inside of me. And I felt like that was my balance, right? I had the good part and I had the bad part.
What do you think Henner saw in you, man? That he kept encouraging you, that he kept giving you chances, that he paid for your membership, that he let you come train for free. What was it? Do you know what that is?
Yes and no. Yes and no. He said I had a lot of potential, and I was very useful and good in the gym. So when I went to the gym, I would make sure all the gis and towels were done. Everything was folded. The rooms were swept, everything clean. Talking to people, I was very polite with them. I had a lot of respect towards people. And then on the mat, I would help I would basically be his apprentice. I'm like, bro, what do you need done? Go help these people. See these 8 people? Go help them all. I said, done. I was very like a servant, right? I was there to serve. How can I make myself useful here? Because I knew that my role here is only paid through serving. So if the second I get comfortable, that means no more jiu-jitsu for me. And if that was the one thing that I loved in my life at that time, I wasn't gonna lose it. So to me, I would just make sure, hey, bro, gis are done, this are done, this are done, towels are done, the mats are clean. What else do you need?
Oh.
And he was like, bro, like you're good. I mean, anyone who came to the academy, till this day, I'm the number 1 person who brought the most people in to train. Because I would give them the 10-minute intro, I'd talk to them, and I could actually see them for who they were. I didn't try to business them. I'm like, hey, man, check this out. This helped, this worked, this works for, and I would teach a lot of people, so I'll be like, this is going to help you, and I know it is. I said, but it's up to you, and I would do the 10-minute intro, and I would train with them, and I'd give them a lot of attention and love. And they would sign up. Other people who were not as easily sold, I guess. I said, cool, you're big, you're 240, right? You just got out to the Marines. Like, I'm 15, 16 years old. I'm 125 pounds soaking wet. Like, you think you can take me? I know I can. Cool, let's go. Choke them out, tap them out. They're like, I'm like, cool, man. Welcome to Gracie. Sign up.
That's dope,
and
man.
then Henner would use me for that, as in terms of like, if you don't believe in jiu-jitsu, we got the guy who represents jiu-jitsu, because they were 6'4", 200 pounds.
Yeah.
If they beat anyone, it didn't do justice.
I mean, they had those 2 guys had the perfect jiu-jitsu bodies.
But if you take the 5'4", 125 pound little 16-year-old blue belt,
yeah,
then he can do. Then you're more convinced that this works.
Right. Basically what their grandpa was.
Yeah.
Right.
I was literally the grandpa version in today's era, right?
Right.
And I did it all, dude. I went against everyone they put me with, as in terms of like just to show them, not to beat them up or whatever, but it was like, hey, go with them.
It works.
Like we're trying to prove to you that this works, so we have to prove it by using him. Otherwise, you're not convinced by just us teaching you. So that's what happened there. I was very useful on the mat, and I was very good at representing the academy. So to me, I felt like he was like, bro, I can't.
It's a win-win. A win-win. Win for you.
But he's outside of here. He's a different kid.
Yeah.
And that's when Hedon was like, I love the same things about him, but how can he represent us? Because jiu-jitsu is more than just the art for them. It's the lifestyle. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the way you conduct yourself. It's the way you live your life, the way you eat, everything. And I did not embody one of those parts. I only did the grappling, the connection with the people on the mat, and the janitorial work in there. But the lifestyle was not mine.
Yeah, I think
Henry understood, though, because I said, bro, you get to go home, and I see your home, bro. And I'm not knocking it, but you have a good cook at your house. You guys have a cook, and they make Gracie diet food. That. I go home, and it's every man fend for themselves. There's some top ramen, there's some bread, there's some sugar, there's some butter. Like, we got to figure this out over here.
It's weird because you would think, Brazilian jiu-jitsu coming where it came from, the favelas, in Brazil, and not the richest neighborhoods.
Not at all, bro.
Right? And then, like, I guess you kind of embody going back to that a little bit, you know what I mean? And then it did transform. It is a lifestyle for a lot of people, It does embody all that. So it's crazy because it was like, not only was it dynamic of you being the jiu-jitsu guy, but being the hood guy, and then the dynamic within their own family, with Hedon and Henner kind of saying, well, let's give this guy a chance. He has potential. Let's not give up on him. And then Hedon said, well, that's not kind of going against what we really believe in. He's not representing us well at least in the streets.
Yeah.
I think that was a gamble for them.
It was a big gamble. Right?
I mean, because especially back then, you think Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, like, top of the food chain. Like, you go there to the academy, you're falling in line. Yeah. And you better represent us well, or you're not doing us any favors by coming here. Yeah. We got enough students. So, act the way we ask you to act, and then we want you to represent us.
Well, that only came as being an instructor. See, because they have doctors, lawyers. They have all kinds of people in there who are students. But they pay their fee and they leave.
Right.
They're like, you're not on the same bracket as them. They go, you're paying it through work here. He goes, but not only that, but now that you're becoming very useful, you're actually an instructor. People are looking at you for you to lead them. And then if you've trained jiu-jitsu, you know that jiu-jitsu is just the beginning of it. That's just a slap, bump, roll. We have fun, and then we get to talk.
Yeah.
Then you're like, hey, what's up, bro? And then if everything that came out of my mouth was bad, in a way, I'm kind of infecting everyone in there, right? I'm like, oh, man, do drugs, or do this, do that, or let's go get drunk, and let's go, I'm 17, but, I got a fake ID. Let's go to Sunset. So that was very much the rotten apple, right? As in terms that you want to put it in there.
Are you having people come to the academy, see you as Brian Gracie Jiu-Jitsu guy,
yeah,
and then running into them in the streets, and they're like, "Wait a minute, this fool is actually the guy at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and now you want to bang on me?"
The people weren't bangers, right? So they wouldn't see that. But the one people who did see the worst were the cops.
True.
Because the cops would train,
right?
And they would look at me, and they would look at me and they go, "All right, cool. This kid is dope." And then they run into me outside and they pull me over because my car is full of all these guys, And then the second they gaffle us up, this guy has this guy has this, I have some on me, and whatever. And they're like, bro, what are you doing?
It's a trip.
And that's kind of when the cops were like, we're not going to be cool with you anymore. If anything, it did feel like when I go in there, they were the only ones like, we have the real vision of who you are, mother. You know, like,
wow.
I got very much that vibe where it was cool with them. And then once they caught me, it was like, keep your distance.
Wow.
And I was like, damn. But I was like, oh, well, you know, like, I just can't be cool with you.
You want to roll me up in the street? Cool. I'll see you on the mat.
Not for real, huh?
We're all the same on the mat.
No, but I would name drop sometimes.
It's funny though. You know cops when they come to the gym though.
Yeah.
Right? You already know
their demeanor, their posture, the way they look.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Me and my boy had this thing like, yeah, this dude's a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cop. You know what I mean? I was at Lucas's, and then there was a dude, and I seen him, and then you dap everybody up at the end of the class and everything. I said, "So you a cop?" He goes, "Nah." And I go, "You sure?" He's like, "Yeah." And I go, "Okay." He goes, "Nah, I am a cop." He goes, "Why you ask?" And I go, "Nah, I could tell." And I go, "Thank you, man." I go, my percentage rate of IDing the cops in jiu-jitsu class is still up there.
You're still smart.
Yeah, it's like you can just tell, bro.
Yeah.
But man, what is it about jiu-jitsu, bro, that really captivated you?
In the beginning, it was an outlet. But like I said, it was a place where my whole world outside could be just dark, and then when I come in here, everything was good. There was not a problem in the world that even would faze me. As long as I'm on the mat, as long as I'm teaching, talking to good people, that was, to me, you know how you said you used to leave with your parents to go on a vacation, to Pedro or the beaches? That was my everyday vacation. Every time I walked in the building, it was just the smell, the people, the white geese, the green mat, the hi Brian, the niceness in there. It wasn't something that I was used to. It was literally a whole different world in there.
So even though I assume it's only a few miles from your house, it felt like 100 miles away, another world.
Not even that. It was just that little building in the same city was just, you walk in there and it's just
an escape.
Yeah. And that's the beginning of why I fell in love with it. The second part was tapping people out at being so small and beating people up who were big and buff. It did make me feel like I had superpowers. and then getting better as I kept training, seeing the progress, seeing me go from blue belt to hanging with the blue belts, to tapping all the blue belts, to purple belt, to tap, it just being the guy who excelled on the mat further than anyone.
So you were good right away.
Yeah.
You knew it.
Right. I did know it. Because there's people who I looked at like, whoa, these kids are legends. Because I went in there 13, 14. A green belt was like unheard of. And I saw one and I was like, dude, that guy's a unicorn. Even brown belts. There wasn't, like, nowadays you have a lot of black belts. Back in the day, purple belt was a black belt.
Yeah, they weren't handing them out.
And a brown belt was like, you're legendary. Like, this is 2003, 2004, 2005.
Wow.
So seeing all this, I was like, bro, okay. I would look at him like, I'm gonna be like you, or I'm gonna beat you. And sure enough, I'd see these kids who had yellow belts, and I'm like, all right. And I would lose for a whole 8 months straight, but I showed up every day and trained. It took me 9 months to get my first stripe on my white belt. That's how unnoticed I went in the building. But then once I started getting them, I was like, all right, cool. Then I just made a big hit list in my head. All the white belts can get it. Then once all of them got it, I was like, all you blue belts are next.
Wow.
And then it was like, oh, I'm a kid. Okay, where are the kids at? Let's do a tournament. Mop all the kids up. All right, you guys don't stand a chance.
Wow.
I'm used to going with adults. You guys are so light and Gumby and flexible. I could just have my way with you guys. And I felt great. I did good, and I did a bunch of competitions. I won them all. I did a flying triangle before it was even popular. It was a good time, man.
Now, did you ever use jiu-jitsu in the street?
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh,
There's a lot of people out there, non-jiu-jitsu people, say it's not. You can't use it, but here's a guy that a gangbang using jiu-jitsu in the street.
You got to learn to use it, how to use it, when to use it,
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So it's totally feasible.
depending on the circumstance. Yeah,
Right. Do you think every fight usually goes to the ground or ends up on the ground?
Yes, and it's a hard
Depends,
one, man.
right?
It's a hard one. Bro.
I think it's hard for you because
if you're with your crew, I'm not gonna take you down.
no,
You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Somebody's gonna hit you.
They're gonna kick you in the head.
Right.
Yeah. So everything is situational.
Yeah.
But like my first fight with jiu-jitsu was at 14, 15 years old. Like maybe a couple months or like a year or so in training. And I remember I fought my sister's boyfriend at that time. Yeah, I fought him. I put him in an arm bar. I snapped his arm a little bit. Not like great, but I hyperextended it.
Were you younger than him?
Yeah. I have two older sisters. So
I
always had to fight the older ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, my sister was like, "Hey, we're going to Disneyland," and we didn't go to school. And my mom got hooked up with some passes, so we felt like, "Oh, let's go." Even at like 15, they were like 14, 15, 16. We're back to back. And yeah, we went to Disneyland, and my sister was bummed out. And I usually mess with her a lot, and I was like, "Hey, man, what's up?" You know, this guy dumped me. And I was like, "Why?" Because I won't give it up, and this and that. I was like, that's good. Like, you don't want to be a, you know what? She was like, no, but now he's going around school and saying bad things about me and this and that. And I was like, I said, you want me to take care of that for you? She's like, yeah. I said, all right, I got you. Went to school the next day. I went looking for him. Hey, where's this guy at? Where's he at? Where's he at? Nothing. After school, I'm getting ready to cross the street, take the bus. And I look over. I say, hey, I heard you're looking for me. I looked at him. I said, yeah, I am. Took my shirt off and just hit him. He fell. He I don't know how we ended up on the ground. Yeah, hit him a couple times. He put his hands up, like everything I learned. Did an arm bar. He bit the bottom of my leg. Started hammer fisting him down. He let go. Yanked on his arm a bit more till it popped and I heard him scream. I let him back up. I said, come on, let's go round two. By then I was already like, you already know, like, all right, now I'm just picking on you.
Yeah.
But it made me look cool that I could beat him up more. And then, and he didn't want none, man. He didn't want none. And I left him. His face was all bloody, whatever. I missed the bus. Had to walk home. By the time I got home, my sister, I guess he went to my sister's friend's house. She called my sister. Was like, guess what just happened? So by the time I got home, I was like a hero. My sister was like, oh my God, thank you so much. I can't believe it. And I was like, I got, as much as we fight each other, I said, I got you.
Yeah, it's family.
But then I went to Gracie's and I was like, yo, Henner. I was like, can I tell you something? He's like, what? I was like, jiu-jitsu works. It's like, no, duh. I was like, no, bro, it really does work. What are you talking about? Like, bro, I got to fight. And I'm not going to lie, like, I always bang with people, but we fell on the ground. I was like, bro, hips in, hands out. Like, he couldn't even throw me off. I hit him, and then he put his hands up just like you teach us over here. And I literally was like, bro, are you serious? You're just giving me this? And I just took the arm. I go, but then you bit my leg. He's like, what? I said, yeah, he bit my leg. He's like, what did you do? I was like, I just started hitting him. And I was like, what do you mean like this? I didn't even know what a hammer fist was at the time, right? I was like, I just started hitting him like this, and I started bouncing his face off. I told him, let me go. And then he's like, and then what? I was like, but then, like, I grabbed the arm, and he was moving back, and, like, my back got scraped up, but then I put the hips forward, and I didn't feel nothing, so I put a little more, and then I heard, like, a couple pops in there, and he was screaming more. So then I let him go. I didn't know if it was broken or not. How does the arm break? How do you, like, do you know how? Because I felt something, but I don't know if it was a break. He was like, so you hyperextend it, there's ligaments, and they start snapping, and then the break happens. So you probably just got ligaments out. And I was like, so I didn't break his arm. I was like, no, you just snapped some ligaments. I go, but that's still good, right? He's like, oh, yeah, like it works. And I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, but dude, jiu-jitsu works then. He's like, are you going to train? I said, no, man, my knees are kind of scraped up. I go, my knees, my hands, and my hands, my knees, and my back.
That's funny, man.
And then after that, I was like, bro, this works.
He's so detailed. I can imagine him telling you that story.
No, he made me tell it in front of everyone.
I mean, he's just so detailed all the time. There's ligaments. I like his breakdowns all the time on the Instagram. He's always very technical on everything. Breaks everything down.
Yeah, I was sitting down and he was like, guys, Brian, tell him. I was like, because I already had like, I don't want to get seen as a bad rap in there.
Yeah.
But he was all about it. But then he told my story for me, which was cool.
That's dope.
I was like, yeah, so I got in a fight. And he's like, guys. He's like, all right, took over. He's like, he got in a fight. He did this. And you just look over. He goes, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, and then Brian, then he got bit. And then you did what? And I'm like, hammer fist. And then he hammer fist. And you know how he is. He gets so elaborated with it.
Yeah, he's cool.
And, but yeah, it was the first time I found out jiu-jitsu worked. It was cool.
And you were hooked.
I was already hooked. I was already hooked before that. But that was when I realized, okay, this works.
Yeah.
And then fighting in the street, obviously you found out what situations it does work, which one it doesn't work, when is it better to hit someone, when is it better to even like just arm drag and push or takedowns. I just started realizing how effective it is everywhere and when to use it and how to use it.
Right. You're a little bit different than a lot of jiu-jitsu black belts in MMA or guys that are known for their jiu-jitsu, which you're known for your jiu-jitsu, have a lot of submissions, but your stand-up's really good. Your boxing is good.
Somewhat.
No, it's good, bro.
It could get better, man.
No, it's good. No, I think, listen, I mean, you have some great wins over some very good competitors. You had a run there of like 7 dudes in their prime, Clay, stand-up, You submitted Cub, but Cub's a great striker. I mean, you stood there with him. You have hands. I mean, that's what you're also known for. And so it's not just like Brian Ortega, the jiu-jitsu guy. Yeah, you have the subs. You're able to sub, but you have some hands too. Where did the hands come from?
They're still developing, but it was just from 5 to 13, I did Muay Thai, kickboxing.
Got it.
In Wilmington. But that place was more of a rock'em sock'em robots. So you literally do a class and then you do a couple things, and by the end, you just put a headgear, gloves, and shin pads, and you spar. And I stepped in the ring like 5, 6 years old at like they have events, amateur events, and then you're a kid and they're fighting in them. So I did those growing up. That's where they came from. I lost them when I went to jiu-jitsu. Other than like street hands, right? That's all I had after that, and with some knowledge of kicks and punches. But then when I told you that coach that took me in at that time, when I was 18 after I got in trouble, he's the one that started like picking it back up where it's like, hey man, you need striking. And, I have a little bit of knowledge to striking, and I want to like teach you and help you out.
So you started just putting all the pieces kind of together.
We trained for probably 6-7 months. I took one fight, and then after that, we went pro, and then that was it. Then we just started this thing like, oh, bro, we're winning, and then we just kept going. And that's what it was. We just started sharpening everything up, started going to gyms, started getting advice from other people, and a lot of sparring helped me.
You start putting these pieces together. Do you realize, like, hey, this is what I want to do? Are you doing it are you fighting out of necessity? Are you fighting to let the anger out? Are you fighting because I want to be pro and make a living out of this? Or were you just fighting to fight?
All of them.
All of them.
They all progress. Like, as a kid, just fighting to fight, then fighting to get better, and then fighting just to compete because I like the competition aspect. And then once I saw the UFC, it was like, oh, there's a future here. And then there was like how every kid a teenager has a dream.
Sure.
I had a dream, but I didn't know if I fully believed in it or not. And then it wasn't until like I said, I beat that case, and then it was like, okay, I don't really have much options here. I'm not good at school. I'm not good here. I'm not good here. But I do love fighting, and there is a future here, but it's going to cost me everything. It's going to cost me my life. And that's when I had to part ways with it. I said, hey, man, like, I'm done. Oh, bro, this and that. I said, bro, I'm done. Like, this guy's locked up, this guy's locked up. Like, you want to go and party, hang out, and like go to the bar, I'm down. But to be out here in the streets still, I said, I'm over. I'm done with it. Like, all right, I respect that. I said, bro, I'm following this. And then that's what it was.
Did it ever get hard to let go of the streets? Because when you leave, and you said you left early, 18, 20, when you start pulling away.
It took a while, right?
Right, because everybody wants to, there's the old.
It was up to like 23, 24 that I could fully say I wasn't,
Because there's the old line, right? Every time you get out, they pull me back in, right? It's that line where you're like trying to get away, but they keep pulling me back in. Is that what you were like? Sometimes you were like, man, I'm 2 steps forward, 1 step back every time.
That's all the time, man. I was in UFC getting in trouble.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, bro, what am I doing? I got kids now. I got this now. Like, and somehow I ended up going out and we got into this mess. And I'm just like, come on, man. What's going on? But then I'll do more good than bad.
Do you chalk that up just to being young?
Just chalk it up as as something that happened. It's like, all right, if I go out with you, every time I go out with you, we're going to get in some stuff. So I might not go out with you as much. But I'll still go out with you, though. But maybe, once every 3 months.
Taper that off a little bit.
So it was, instead of hanging out with them every weekend, it was like, oh, hey, man, I'm going to go kick it with the boys. Hey, you know how it goes. I said, wait, I'm going to go do what I got to do.
Right.
And then sure enough, by the end of the night, I come back bloody or something, or something happened, or so always something happened.
Did people know at that time who you were?
Some people did, some people don't.
And do you feel like people test you to see, okay, he's a UFC fighter, but let's see?
Not too much.
No.
When it comes to them knowing I'm a fighter, they rather just kind of look and size me up with their mind, but they'll never come up and really do something about it.
Because I would think, especially in the streets, like people.
To me, it was more like, I'm the guy that looks like you can beat up. You see me, I'm not tatted from head to heel. I don't have nothing that's significantly on me that lets you know stay back. My style too, I didn't like the whole all gang banged out. I liked like, hey man, I am my style. Like what I like, and what I don't. So I look different from my own crowd.
Right.
So then obviously, and at the time, you go anywhere and you get the girls and stuff like that. So, we were chasing women and stuff like that. So we walk in there and we had a whole aura to us.
Yeah.
And then I'm the guy that, for some reason, it was like I get pushed around a lot. So I'm like, hey, all right.
Are your friends that you're going out with, are they looking at these dudes that are trying to pick a fight with you and be like, bro, you don't know who this guy is?
No.
Oh, so they just said, all right, you want to fight, Brian, go ahead.
No, they wouldn't even let me fight.
Oh, they wouldn't let you fight.
If I'm out with my friend right now and you push me, you're getting hit by him.
That's good. They're looking out for you.
Like, simple as that. And after that, all hell breaks loose. And then that's just what it was. And it was like that all the time. If someone messes with you, I hit them before they realize it. Someone messes with me, I'm expecting you to do the same. If not, then you better tell me like, hey, dog, I got this. Because you really want to do it on your own. But that was just bar fights, right? That's later on when we started leaving the neighborhood, we started going out more. But then even going out more, you see other people doing the same. So you're like, what's up? Where you from? Like, where you from? Like, on trip. What's up? We got a problem. Like, all right, yeah, boom, it's over. And then it just that quick, it escalates and something happens. And I lived for it for a while. I'm not gonna lie. It brought me a lot of thrill, a lot of joy. It was something to do that still felt cool, I guess. It was like, I'm not in the street. Something can still happen here, but, for the most part, you ain't going to pull something out here where a lot of cameras are at,
Yeah.
You might hit me with a bottle or something, but like a knife or a gun, I'm not too worried about it till we hit the parking lot. And that's what it was a lot.
It's crazy to think that you were in the UFC and
oh, bro,
and still getting in trouble. I mean, is anybody from the UFC like saying, "Hey, man," like, or did they not know? They just thought you were just Brian Ortega, the fighter. Good kid from
I learned,
good kid from the Gracie Academy.
I learned something from Gracie, which is how to have two lives, or how to not even two lives, how to just separate my business. If you work for the UFC, I don't want to tell you what I've been up to. Why would I? You're gonna go tell someone, and someone's gonna tell someone, and I'm gonna have a bad rap there, or I might lose my job. It still felt very much like it still does, right? Let's say if I was doing bad things, where it's like, you guys are my job. I don't have to tell you guys anything. My life is my life.
Yeah.
But to the other people outside, it was like, yo, what's up?
Right.
Where we want to go tonight? We got 86 from this place. Let's go to another place.
Man.
And then that was it.
That's crazy,
but
man.
To me that was like harmless fun.
Yeah.
Right. There was out in the neighborhood and street where it was crazy. And then after that, there was just, let's go out, let's drink a little bit, and let's get some trouble. Right.
So, you're a father.
Yeah.
You trying to raise your boys at this time. Is how did you live two lives there?
I didn't.
So they've seen a lot of that. They've seen a lot of the two lives.
They've seen some stuff, and I put myself away from them because I was doing stupid things. So I did a number of work on my wife now when we were together as boyfriend and girlfriend. I put her through a lot. I would dip out for 2-3 weeks and I'll be in the neighborhood somewhere, and it was like, yo, like a bunch of question marks. What are you doing with it? I'm just going down a different hole that I don't want to bring you guys down in. And yet, although I knew I was doing bad things, I knew to separate both of them because you guys are good and I'm the bad one. And that's what it felt for me. It was like, all right. So that's what it was. Because there's a couple of times, right before I fought Max, the week before I fought Max Holloway, I got in a fight in the middle of the street.
Wow.
I did a photo shoot for Citizens of Humanity, the clothing brand. Put some nice jeans on. I looked really good, like the hair. They did, and it was a whole thing about being a good father. And I felt like such a hypocrite, bro. Like, we do this photo shoot at the beach with my kids. They're young, and I'm at the beach with them, and my girl's there watching it, and she's all happy about it. And I said, hey, let me take him to the house. She's like, nah, I don't want you to take him to the house. I said, let me take him to the house. I'm like, come on, man. I'm just going to drive to the house. She's like, She's like, all right. Then I gave her a reason why not to trust me, even driving them to the house, right? I was driving some guy from whatever, I don't know what it was, but he tried to he was getting crazy, throwing up whatever from the back. And then he got next to me, and then he started throwing up something, so I got out the car. I said, what's up? And then he realized nothing. He didn't want none. He pulled over again. He started reaching in the glove compartment, acting like he had something. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'd rather get shot myself if that was the case than have him light off my car and hit my children. So I was like, I hopped out on him. My cousin was with me. I said, hey, get in the car and take off if this food does let off. I said, keep the kids safe. I ran up, and he was just bluffing the whole time. And then I even gave him a chance. I said, hey, bro, check this out. But I'm dressed. I'm speaking the way I'm not, I'm speaking some, but I'm dressed different.
Yeah.
I have these nice tight jeans on. I look like like
nice guy,
yeah,
Brian.
I look like, he don't look the part. But I'm like, hey, check the shit out, homie. I was like, hey, this is where I grew up from, blah, blah. I know where you're from, this and that. I said, let them know who I am, whatever. And then I said, but if you get out the car, I said, I'm going to let you get it. And he hopped out the car, so it was it. Ugh. We started fighting in the middle of Carson Street, on like a Carson Street, in the middle of the street. And then, sure enough, I let him have it. It's the first time in my life I had my hair pulled. So he he pull my hair, and then I get on top, and then I tell him, hey, man, let go of my hair, bro. And yeah, I ended up elbowing his face against the concrete and bouncing it up and down a couple of times. My kids are in the back seat crying and screaming. And till this day, something they don't let go. They're like, hey, Dad, remember that one? I'm like,
man.
I was like, bro, you guys were young.
So you're risking it all.
But I'm fighting for a world title.
Yeah,
and
you're
I'm
fighting for the world
on
title.
Carson Street.
And you're fighting some random dude from another neighborhood that possibly had something with your kids in the back.
Yeah.
Bro.
Stupid. But when you don't care, you don't care. And I didn't care in the beginning till I saw him playing with the glove compartment. That's when I said, all right, like, I'm not going to play with this. I had too many people where it's not fake and you regret it after. So to me, it was like, I'm going to hop out right now, and if it's my time, then it's my time, but it's not going to be my kids' time. And that was my mentality, at least going in there, you know. I'm not justifying what I did, but if someone's going to get shot, yeah, I'd rather it be me than my kids. So
sure.
that was my logic there. And then, so I ended up fighting him, beat him up, and then he took off, and then his older homie called me up, and I told him, you can get it too. I said, what's up? Because he's like,
in the middle of Carson?
No, he hit me up, but yeah, I was like, well, you know where I live. I said, I'll come to you. I said, you can get it too. And then he's like, nah, I didn't like that. Because one thing, although we got what we got when we were younger, a lot of people growing up, they still remember us and they still respect us for what, because we're down. They say, hey, bro, we don't start nothing, but if you call poking the bear, then all right, bro, like, let's go.
Right.
So that was the biggest issue there, was whenever you poke it, I would answer.
Was it what do you think that was? Was it pride?
It's your mentality. It's not letting someone think that they can get the best of me, not letting them think that they're above me. You're not better than me. It's a lot of things, especially when they come up and they try to. To me, is whenever you try to belittle me, I'm gonna show you that you can't. And first, I'm gonna do it with words, and if words don't work with you, then all right, then I'm gonna do it with fists. And then once you realize that you're not above me, it's like then I almost switch the cards and I go, now I'm above you.
It kind of goes back to the mentality of being in the gym and being a 14, 15-year-old kid submitting Marines 200 pounds.
I guess so, yeah.
The same type of feeling, right? It's the same type of feeling. Like, okay, you're doubting me. Let me show you then. Let me teach you a quick lesson. Yeah. But on a much higher dangerous scale where you're really gambling.
Basically. But yeah, that was. Yeah, I don't know why I'm like that, or what. I'm learning not to be like that anymore.
I think, I mean, that's something a lot of people don't want to admit, right? I mean, I think people don't admit, like you said, I'm learning still.
Yeah,
it's probably still in there somewhere. If you go outside right now and somebody challenges you, it might be a problem.
Yeah,
he says, yeah. Especially if your kids ain't with you.
Well, because I can't promise nothing, right?
Right.
As much as I like now, I've been getting into the word and everything. I even say it's a badge of honor to avoid conflict.
Yeah.
It's like he looks at you like that's a badge of honor. And that's the opposite of what I grew up. You're wearing a badge of shame the second you get punked in the street. You have to walk and hold that. But it's who would you rather look better for people, for men, or for me? So that, like the disassociation of that is like the, you know.
Right.
It's what I've been dealing with. Because now I'll back down. I'll say I'm sorry, like, or whatever. Like, you punked me, cool, man. You got me. As long as it's verbal.
Yeah.
But
is it? I mean, you've had some tough losses in the ring. Has that helped you in dealing with that attitude or that outside of the ring, where you have to say, "Hey, man, salute to you, bro. It's cool."
I think it's more the comments and the IG thing that that you can learn to just not take it so personal.
Bro, that I think that's
because sometimes I'll post some things just to mess with people still, and then you just see it all come out, and then I go back to just being cool, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like I know I can stir the pot up.
I mean, most people deal with it on a small scale, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I talked to Jalen Turner, came through, and same thing, right? He had a tough loss. He fought somebody you fought, Money McConnell, and he had him beat. You know what I mean? And then
he walked away.
And then he got beat, right? Yeah. So I mean, you can see that just and he said he had to go offline for a little bit. You know, that it just didn't. You know, I mean, that scale that you guys are on, where people can be tough guy behind the phone or behind the computer and just say whatever they want to you, and then coming from where you come from, you're just like, well, let me find this fool where he lives. Yeah. It's got to be like, I mean, I guess. You have to learn how to control that or even deal with it.
Yeah, 100%. It's a progress for me, but you have to learn to control. A man is not a real man for me unless he has full control of his emotions. Because we're the logical ones. And now as the money and the fame rise, my temper has to decrease. Because before, when I have nothing to lose, it's easy to throw it away. And when I didn't know any better, it was easy to throw everything away. But now that I know better and I'm doing better, I can't. I always have something in the back of my head, like a little policeman or something saying,
like a little Henner back there.
Bro, some people will say some things even to this day, and they'll say it in public in your face. Because online is one thing you say, I bet you won't say it to my face. But then when they say it to your face, then you're like, okay, let me get you. And then you're like, hold up. You have a phone probably hidden, or you're probably going to bring a phone out.
Right.
And then, but it's a non-win situation.
Yeah, you lose.
So it's like, hey, bro. Talk what you gotta say what you gotta say.
It's so different than the street where you were brought up in, the streets that you were brought up in, right? It goes totally against everything you've known your whole life to be able to do that.
1,000%. And it's something that you, at least for me, I'm always fighting that. I'm always fighting that.
Yeah.
Someone says something, and I'm just like, don't do it. What does it say? Forgive 77 times 7, 77 times 7. That's what, all right. I can't just talk about it. I got to be about it. I said, all right. I forgive you. You don't know any better. All right, cool. I live in a world that crucified him. What makes me think that I'm different? I always have to just remind myself, and then it chills. And then when I get home and I see everything I have, it doesn't dwell on me or eat me up anymore.
Wow. I love that you admit that, man, because a lot of people are, especially men, are afraid or prideful to say, yeah, I still battle with that. I'm working on it. I get reminders every day that the Lord speaks to me and helps me get through that. But I haven't conquered it yet. But I'm getting there.
Yeah.
So you're probably like a blue belt in that area.
Yeah.
I think we're all working a black belt. None of us arrived at black belt yet, bro. We're all working the black.
I'll tell you what,
not even brown. I'm like that little purple right there, bro. There's times when I'm like, cool. See, bro, I'm like the purple belt in dealing with those things. There's times when I'm like, yeah, and it's hard. I like to talk trash too, but there's sometimes when people say things to me, and I have a good clap back to bring it on them, and I'm just like, man. And then my wife's like, and my wife will tell you, she'd be like, man, you were cold in the day. You would say things and like,
I aim for the throat.
Exactly. And now it's just like there was a dude at church, and I was just kind of like, and I was running late for a meeting, and they were giving out shirts to the volunteers, and he threw the shirt and hit me in the face.
Was it on purpose or accident?
It was on purpose.
Oh, all right.
He was, all right. Hey, you're late. And I didn't see the shirt, you know, so he just threw it, and it hit me right in the face, bro. And I was like, and my wife looked at me and she goes, "Oh man." And then after, she's like, I'm really glad like you've come a long way, because you changed. Like, before, you would have at least told him something or threw it right back in his face. And I was like, yeah, it bothered me, but I realized, like, I was not going to win in that situation. It wasn't going to matter if I got threw it back.
Yeah, you threw it right back in his face.
Well, who's that? It's going to make me look bad. But it's hard sometimes, man. It's difficult.
I'm at the talking phase right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do it. At least I like to think I do it better than. You know what? I do.
As you get older, I'm way older than you, but as you get older, you calm down a little bit more.
I just bring people to the side now.
Things start to taper down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, your that mentality or that way of thinking, you kind of get more wisdom, right? Wisdom doesn't come overnight. Just like your black belt don't come overnight. It's going to take a lot of sparring, a lot of learning, a lot of mistakes, and then you start to, yeah, I'm good with that. And the crazy thing about it now is that you don't feel like you have to do something. You feel secure in yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you feel like it's all good. Like, it's not a problem. Like, it doesn't bother me no more. I think when you're young, not saying you, but you probably experience when you're younger, you almost feel like you have to do something.
Yeah. Because you can't get disrespected in front of everyone.
Exactly. But I think fighting helped me a lot with that. You know, training helped me a lot with that. Where you get humbled, you have to suck it up, right? Somebody taps you, it's it. Somebody chokes you, you have to go. Good one. And as mad as you are inside, you got to give the respect. Like, you got me, bro. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing about jiu-jitsu, man. It humbles you before you get humbled.
Yeah, it helps you kill the ego.
Yeah,
because I've been in definitely some situations where if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know how to just shut it down.
Right. Now you made some big changes in your life.
Big ones.
You had, not to bring woes stuff, you had a relationship that got publicized everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest relationship change that I've seen in you is you found Christ.
Yep.
I mean, and I'm kind of mad that didn't get publicized as much, because the change.
You know why?
Yeah, I know why. Because everybody likes drama,
and they don't like the good.
They don't like the good, right? So you get, you know, you have a relationship. It gets publicized. The bad part about that is, you know, you had a family.
Yeah.
But the relationship that I wanted just to talk about is how you found God and how God restored everything in your life, bringing your family back around, you with your boys, you with your wife. How did you find Christ, and how did you come to that point in your life? We know how you came to the point of, it's going to be jiu-jitsu because I ain't getting busted for 5 years.
Yeah.
But when you got to that second turning point in your life where you're like, enough's enough, I need Christ in my life. How did you find Christ, and how did that relationship change your life?
Ooh. I hit rock bottom. Like my own personal rock bottom. Yeah, I found myself finally just not liking my life anymore. I accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish other than winning the belt. But money, cars, fame, success, women, party, this, that, like, I did it all. Hung out with the lowest of the lows, and I hung out with the highest of the highs. Billionaires, millionaires, and people who can't even, you know, it's a lifetime that I feel like I experienced. And then finally just waking up empty in a box, not a home, and doing it every day, and then numbing myself more, running from it, avoiding it. It kind of forced me to start fighting myself, the man in the mirror, right? Because I could only blame everyone so long till you have to till you have to finally just sit there and reap what you sow, and you have to eat all that bitter fruit that because you did a lot of bad things. And that's when I'm like, damn. I thought I was slick, that I escaped everything. I didn't. You know, I reached a point where my kids, I hate you, Dad. They don't want to be around me. Baby mama, you know, now my wife, but at the time my baby mama hates me. This so-called relationship that I thought was gonna fix everything was worse than anything. It just, nothing went right. Nothing was going right, and everything that looked good wasn't good. And yeah, I was down. They didn't like anything anymore. Just, I wasn't into anything.
So you didn't have nothing to fulfill. You here's a guy that you would think, you know, grew up in the Harbor area, achieved, you know, bought a home, achieved success, fame, made money, had this highlighted relationship, looked great on the gram, and still probably more unfulfilled than ever in your life.
Bro, it's the saddest I've ever walked, as in terms of just day to day emptiness. Not even sad, just I felt empty. That's what it was. I was empty, and I've done so much things that you become. I guess you stop caring about a lot. That's what I would say. You stop caring about a lot. You don't care about what that looks like anymore. You don't care. I don't really know how to explain it, other than it's not a good place where I wanted to be at.
How did you finally surrender to Christ?
So I went to church, and my family, long story short, my sister, we were all down bad at one, like I said, 18, 19, 20. I just got out. I just beat that 5-year case. My sister was talking to the street on, like, you know, those people that you see on the street talking to themselves that are on drugs?
Yeah.
That was my sister. My other sister, not that she was bad, but she was just depressed. I don't really fully know, like, how to explain it, other than she would just drink a Jaeger bottle just to herself in her room by her. You know, it was just like weird depression. Not weird, but it was just depression, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
She was just depressed, drinking these things and talking about how happy she is, but really, like, you wouldn't have to drink a Jaeger bottle every day to feel that way, right?
Right.
So I guess we're all going through it, as in terms of trying to figure out life. And without our parents' full guidance, because they had to provide for us, it wasn't that they didn't do it, it's just they were busy working. So we had to kind of raise ourselves. And we did it wrong. And my sister got saved from drugs. My other sister went, like, so my sister being saved from, like, talking to herself in the street to being, like, fully coherent and able to have a conversation with you. She got saved at church. She went to Victory Outreach.
Wow.
And they took her in the home, and she got saved. My other sister then became a Christian after her, because they kind of followed each other. My parents became Christians, and then I looked at them like, you guys are all sellouts.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did you think they were sellouts?
Because they became nicer, you know? I wasn't used to it.
Wow.
I said, man, I like to, and it was unforgiveness on my part.
It's like,
because it was like, how you gonna hit me my whole life? How you gonna, you know, like, how you gonna do all these things and put me through these situations that I had to see as a kid and force me to fight and a lot of, like, you did a number on me, you know, by your guidance. And then now you want to tell me that everything that you supposedly said was wrong. So what, my life is wrong, you know? So it was just this whole ego battle hurt thing that I was dealing with.
I mean, that's real, bro.
Yeah.
And almost like you said, you got a back door here. You're forgiven. you're happy. There's joy. You're admitting you done wrong. No, I wish you would just suffer a little bit for the way, you treated me or something. Like you got a backdoor exit out and now you're leaving me behind.
Yeah.
Wow.
To some degree.
Wow.
So it made me really just go against the grain. And I was like, all right, well, you guys switch up, but I'm staying to who I am. And I would call my dad names, not like bad names, but I'd be like, man, you got soft. He's like, ¿Qué? Like, you got soft, bro. I was like, eres pollito. Because my mom would tell him things, and he's like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, what?
Wow.
I said, come on, bro. What happened to him? What happened to the man? I grew up with the man, the guy who puts his foot down and manda orden. I said, and obviously my mom was feisty too, but I grew up like that.
So his dad's showing tenderness now.
He's soft.
Different.
Yeah, he's soft.
Different.
And I didn't like it because a lot of my raisings were based off his teachings. So to hit an age to where everything you've been taught is wrong, and now let me correct you. It's like, bro, I'm already 19, 20 years old. What are you going to correct? Wow. At that time, I'm like, I'm set in my ways. I already buried, I don't know how many of my friends. I already seen and done a lot of things that you can't take back, bro, because of your teachings. You told me not to back out in situations where I wanted to back out. I was never, a lot of people like to say, hey, man, I've been tough my whole life. I was never tough my whole life. It was me saying, I don't like this, and being able to be like, hey, man, just chill, like, I don't want to fight, to him looking at me and forcing me to fight. So it turned me into a monster. And then my competition skills were like, well, okay, people knew you for this, I'm going to get known for more. Since we're doing this whole raising me this way, let's do it.
Wow.
And then when he switched, then I was pissed. So
you led me down the road here.
Yeah, you like
I'm way deep down this road, and now you pick a new road.
So I said, you know what? Let me do what you couldn't. I'm gonna continue down this road.
Wow.
You go and do your Christian road, and I'm gonna do my road. And that's what I did. And I went to church a couple of times, and I felt the Holy Spirit. Right, I cried one time when I went to Victory Outreach, and I let a lot of things out, and then I left because I felt embarrassed, and I didn't like that. I just didn't like it. I said, man, you guys are weird, like you guys start doing this, speaking in these tongues, and then you guys are on the floor. And I said, nah, you guys are weird, bro. And
are you battling in yourself though? Like, are you feeling like, this is probably the way I need to go?
I knew it was good because of the way I felt that day.
Okay.
When I cried and let a lot of things out. And I was like, this felt good. I feel better.
But are you battling with yourself saying, I don't want to feel better.
Not even
I don't want to feel anything they're feeling. I'm going to fight this all the way. And then you go to church and you're like, I do feel a little bit better. I did get touched. My heart is breaking. No. But I got to go back to Hood Brian and be down.
Yes and no. It was more of, I just don't want to be soft. Especially in my world. My world has no room for softness, right? At that time, I thought at that time. So that was the whole thing. That was a separation there. It was, they were on this trajectory and I was on this one. And I only knew God because of them. And before my fights, my mom would be like, mijo, just go to church, come on. Let us just pray for you. I said, all right. But I will go back and do what I was doing. And maybe even before I do bad things, I said, all right, let's go. It was like, perdóname, but, I am what I am. But yeah, clearly they knew that they couldn't talk me out of it. I'm very stubborn. So they just let me be. And then when the pressure one time got a little too much, as in terms of like the family pressure, because now my brother's being raised by my dad, who's a completely different person, and I'm getting envious and jealous.
Your young brother.
Yeah, because we're 14 years apart. So I'm seeing this kid just be completely different, with a completely different father, and I'm hating. I see this kid say, oh, like give his little attitude, whatever, and I'm just like, And my dad talked to him, and then I did start getting resentment or pissed off, right? Because I was like, hey, bro. I said, you are soft, man. I said, had I ever talked to you like that, you would have socked me around my face or backhanded me and then end some. I said, and he gets a pass? He's like, oh, Nino, you don't know, what I know and this and that. And one day you're going to, I said, man, you're soft, bro. I was like,
wow.
Watch this kid turn on you. I said, remember what I told him. I said, remember what I'm telling you right now. I said, he's going to turn on you one day and you're going to have just a soft ass kid. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. My brother's dope. Not one bad bone in him, not one fight, not like, I mean, the kid's, for the most part, a saint, right? Other than regular, dating things and
just
whatever.
A good kid.
Yeah. For the most part, he's 90-10. And I'm like, bro, this kid is dope. And then I see like, okay, it's better to talk to him and correct him than to just hit him. And discipline is good discipline, but then there's beating. So I started learning all these things just watching him raise my brother. But yeah, it just took me off for another spin, and I felt like I had to just be on my own road, on my own thing, a lone wolf, by myself. And that's what it felt like. Although I had my family, I was like, it's just me against the world, and I'm in a lane you guys don't even understand. Because I'm the first one to make it out of my family. I'm the first one to hit, to hit the milli mark on the family. I'm the first to hit a bunch of things. So I said, I'm just in my own thing. You guys don't understand my life. So I excluded myself from everything. And that was the beginning of the end for me. Because when I did that, I didn't get hit with bad things. I got hit with great things. More success, more money, more women, more, I mean, you name it. And to me, as long as I thank God after the fight, I'm like, hey, man, I'm still shouting you out, bro. Don't do me dirty, And that was it. But the crazy part is I only came to him when I needed him, or when I needed him.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, man, this happened. I'm like, God, please, if you get me out of this one. I said, I promise. I said, I'm not going to do nothing bad. I get out of it. I said, later, bro. I said, so where were we?
Wow.
What's up? And it, like, nothing ever happened. And then when I lost, that was the first, when I lost to Max, that was the first taste of like, okay, you can't be around bad people. But I had no idea fully about God yet. And then when I disassociated with a lot of bad people, I corrected my life in my own ways, and I beat Zombie. So then I said, cool. So me doing things my way now work. So I was like, cool. Hey, you know what? To my chick, I was like, see you later. I said, every famous guy's done it for a reason. That's why you always hear a lot of famous people, oh, they got a baby mama, but they got this girl. Like, you want to be successful, you want to be famous, you want to live this life fully, then let's do it.
Wow.
I was like, you guys are holding me back. What? Bye. Did my own thing. Obviously, I met another girl, and I thought, okay, now is my time to do it right. I did it all. I did it bad for a long time. Let me try it right. And then trying it right went wrong. And then it was even a worse. I was like, did I miss this girl now? Like, she was a saint compared to what I'm dealing with now. And so I couldn't do it anymore. So I gave the girl the boot. I said, hey man, sorry, but you gotta go. She didn't want to leave. It was a whole issue, but I still got her to leave. Nothing, no drama like that, right? Then I'm in isolation. I'm having surgeries after surgeries after surgeries. My career is going bad. Now I have lost all the relationships.
Yeah, just shoulder.
I had 2 shoulders, both elbows. I have in total like 9-10 surgeries in. But
the gap between your fights got longer, right?
So everything just, no fighting, no training, nothing that helped me escape and get frustration out. Because when life sucks, I just work out like a monster. Just, I wake up, cold shower, run 5 miles, get back, cold shower, breakfast, train weights, come back, eat, take a nap, go back, Jiu Jitsu, go do sauna, go do cold plunge again, come back. Like, I'm just every day, all day, that's all I think about is just training. But when you have all these surgeries, you can't do anything.
So you get stripped, surgery.
I get stripped of my health, family.
I mean, pretty much everything.
And all I have is the things I thought would make me happy, which is money and material things.
That gets old fast.
I'm looking at the bank account. I'm like, damn, bro, we made it. I'm looking at my cars. I'm like, I got my lowriders. I got my this. I got my truck. I got my Jeep. I got my V12. You know, like my drug dealer car that I grew up loving. So I got everything that I like. Why do I hate my life? Why do I even? Sometimes I don't even want to be here. If I'm being honest, I said I did it, done it. Maybe I peaked too soon, or maybe I figured this whole game out too fast. And I'm done, like, because I don't like where I'm at. So let me just not be here, and let me just leave my money to my kids when they turn 18. And that was these are these battles that I had with myself.
You're really thinking that?
Yeah.
Wow. I think
I didn't want to be here anymore, man.
It's hard for people to fathom that. They think Brian Ortega, UFC fighter, fame, commercials, been around, made it. And you're saying that you don't want to be here no more.
I was over it. I'm tired. I'm over it. I'm tired of holding. Too. I'm tired of being strong my whole life. That's what it was. I had to always pick myself up. I had to always encourage myself. I had to always. It's always like, let's go, bro. At the end of the day, you have people tell you things and come on, But at the end of the day, it's you who's got to be in there by yourself. And there's the at that point too. I'm paying my house, I'm paying my parents' house, and I'm paying child support. So like every month is just like things are dipping out the bank, and then you start going like, man, I'm only good for money because no one's checking in on me. This is the worst time of my life. I don't see my parents. I don't see anyone. I don't see anyone. So-called homies. Who's here? I said, man, ain't no one care about you really. Like, and it's when I seen other people die too. They die, and then 2 weeks, people cry, and then after that 2 weeks, everyone's living their best life. So I was just pissed and sad and just over it. So I'm like, I'm tired of doing this for so long, man. Because I born in the neighborhood, you had to grow up quick. The things I seen in my life, I had to grow up quick. My experiences, the fights, the problems, the trauma that you want to call it, whatever it is. And then you hit my age where you're young, but it's like, bro, I look at some people, I say, I'm wiser than you, bro. Not because of my age, but my experiences. I've been through more than you, and you're twice my age. So in my head, I said, what makes you think that you know more than I do? You've seen things longer, but you haven't lived them differently. I've had to live different phases fast. 1 year, like I said, it's like a dog year. 1 year felt like 7. When you're running for your life, when you're, when all this is happening, and then when fame takes over and then it shoots you in a different world and then I'm not educated, so I don't know what to fully do. So I'm sitting here just mad at the world, mad at myself, mad at my circumstances, and then just like, bro, why are you here? You wake up every day, it's just the same things every day. Like, I guarantee you, if you left right now, ain't nothing changing. So it's like that little voice, like, just
start hearing those voices.
Dip out, bro. Dip out. And, I won't go too much into that, but I have my thing, And after that, I was good for a while, doing things again my way. And then that's when I found God. I went to church, and then I left. And because I am who I am, which is a good thing in this aspect, was because they said, hey, they told the pastor, said, hey, there's this guy who's a fighter, UFC fighter, came through. So he sent me a message. He said, hey, bro, when you going to come back again? I said, I'm not, man. Like, it's cool, but just, when you're down and out, you get desperate.
Are you feeling a little tug now, more than ever from God?
Well, I'm starting to look over at my parents' lane. That's what it is. I see everyone ignoring me. I see my kids with my parents, my baby mama with my parents, and I'm kind of excluded for everything I did. I'm like not banned, but kind of banned, if it makes sense.
The bad guy.
I'm the bad guy, and I can't go over there and see my mom, and you know, like my dad was the only cool one, but he's always been like that. So my dad at that time was the only one I felt like I had, but even he's caught up where it's like, I'm only showing you love because you're my son. But if it wasn't for that, like I wouldn't even be here. So it's almost like you're only here out of your duty. So it's almost like it feels good, but it doesn't, because this is your job. You don't want to be here. So yeah, excluded from everything. So that's kind of where I started looking over at their lane, and I see how happy and how years have passed by, and and things get better for them. And then that's kind of like the curiosity was like, they might have an answer that I don't.
How hard was for you to admit that?
Not too hard. Once you're down there, you're just like, well, all right, I don't know anything.
They ain't that many places to go now.
And it's like, Pops, I know you've seen a lot of bad things and you're still happy. Maybe I'm the one that got it wrong. So then that's when but I didn't want to go to them and say I got it wrong, so I did it on my own. And yeah, the pastor reached out and said, hey man, when's the next time you're going to come here? I said, no, I'm not. Like, thank you, but no thank you. It was cool though. Like, your church is dope. It's not a you thing. And then we talked a little bit more, and I couldn't help but it's like, well, you're a pastor and you're close to God, so maybe I can use you to talk to him. And, you know, like, sure. I don't know how it works, right?
Yeah. I'm
like, man, if you got a direct line to him, like, let me chop it up with you.
Help me out.
Yeah, help me out, because I don't know what I'm doing here. He came to the gym, and you know, in the gym, I got down on my knees and declared him as my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But I felt like I did that only because he was the pastor. Because after that, I was like, bro, but you know, this is where I'm at in life, and this and this and this, and I'm telling him everything. And then he tells me to come to church, and I go to this conference. And then there was a 3-day conference, and I didn't want to leave. The first day just hit me, and I let everything out. At least I thought I had let everything out. The second day I went there again, and just more, and then more things happened in there. Where they called me, you know, like they didn't call me, but they called certain people to the stage, and I went in there, and the experiences I had were great. And I didn't leave that place till like 1 a.m. It was like from 6 to 8, and I didn't leave till 1. Wow. And they're like, hey, bro, you ready to leave? I'm like, there's peace here, man.
Wow.
I don't want to go back home. Home sucks. And after 3 days, that's kind of when I did realize, I said, you know what? You have to submit. It's not that I can't keep doing things the way I'm doing. It's just that I'm tired of doing things the way I'm doing. Let me try your way. And if this is what this feels like in 3 days, I wonder what a lifetime's going to feel like. And after that, those 3 days, I went to church and got baptized. And then slowly just things started changing. I started hanging out with less people, even more than I thought I was hanging out with. I started getting away from certain things that I loved. I stopped doing it. I became almost like a weirdo to all my friends. And then blessings just started happening. I was going through things still, but it finally felt like I can see some light. And that kind of gave me motivation to get back up and start doing things all over again. And in doing that, I started seeing my kids again. And then when I pick them up and I hang out with the mother, their mom at that time, right? Like, we actually have a great time. We go eat Korean barbecue food all together, and I see them laughing, and I see her kind of smiling again, and I'm like, man, bro, like, it's not that it's not that you can't do life in two houses, but when things are right between you two, you don't want to. Because no matter what you say, there's an emptiness when you don't have your kids with you. It doesn't feel right knowing that they're in another roof. I used to drive by their house and just trip out that they're in that room right now. I used to just drive by like a stalker, right? But it was more because it's like my kids are right there, man. Like, and if I can just drive by here, it's like it's the closest thing that I can get to them right now. Because it's not my days. And even on my days, they didn't want to be with me. So it's just like,
wow.
So everything started feeling good. And then I see her smile, and then we lock eyes a little bit, and then like it starts again. Like the flirting, right? Like the beginning of the flirting. And I liked it. I was like, dude, I actually like you. Before I couldn't stand you, but now I actually like you. And then we start, hey man, what are you doing? You know, whatever. And
starting brand new.
Yeah, like, what's up? You want to go hang out? Yeah, all right, cool, let's go hang out. Then we go out, we have fun. And then it's like, all right, cool. And then it's like, bro, like, does she like me again? Does she not like me? Or is she just being cool? Or are we friends? Or is it like, you know, the market? You're not really putting yourself on the market right now. So at least you've been with me before, so you feel comfortable being with me again until you see something better. You know, you're going to leave. I had no idea what's going on.
So she's playing it smart. She ain't giving you no clues.
No. I'm just like, what's going on here? And then finally, you know, after we hooked up and things got a bit better, I was like, yo, where did we go wrong? And then she was like, dude, you're a piece of you know what? I said, yeah, you're right. And she was like, that's why we didn't work out, because of the way you were. And I had to just kick back and let her vent it out. You were this, you were that, you did this, you did that, you did this. It just, the list was on and on.
And for a fighter to take that many punches and not throw anything back, it had to be tough. But you got to take it on the chin, right? At that point.
It was till I realized a little key component to help me get better, and it's called ACE. It's accountability, communication, and effort. And if you don't have all those three, you ain't getting nowhere. People who avoid accountability will end up slowly, you know, not doing well. People who don't communicate, hold it in, and end up like myself, where you self-sabotage or you destruct. And effort is without effort, then none of it is even possible, because you're making nothing a step to go in the right direction. So I was accountable, and I had to just hear the judge basically just tell me everything. Right. And I was like, yep, fact. You're right. Fact, you did this. Fact, you did this. Fact. All facts. Communication. Well, why, Brian? All right. Truth don't sound too good, but here it comes.
Wow.
I said, I didn't care about you, and I didn't respect you, and I didn't even give two anythings about losing you. I had my fame, my success, and I knew you ain't going nowhere. So I took advantage of it. I lied to you. I mistreated you. I misjudged you. I just took advantage of you. And just fed you a whole bunch of BS. And they say you can't have your cake and eat it too. Well, I had both of them. So I figured I was living life better than a lot of people. I could come back after a binge and have my family. And then when I get tired, I can dip out back in the neighborhood and go have fun with the homies and do whatever, you know, you do. And then after that's done, I can go right back again. And it's like, all right, here we go. Now I'm back to being a family man. I miss you guys. How you guys been? But then as the years came by, it got colder. And then eventually for us, it was, like you said, we were just two strangers. We were roommates. I lived in one room. She lived in another one, and the kids were in the middle. And that's how we did home. It got to the point where it was just like, what's up, morning, good morning, what's up? All right, cool. No drama, no back and forth fighting in front of the kids, but
no love either.
Just roommates. And then when I want to hang out with the boys, I hang out with the boys. And when she want to hang out with the boys, she hangs out with the boys. And the boys are always like, hey, we never do nothing together. And I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to. I can't, in my head at that time I was like, I can't stand you.
Wow.
And then even when we did something together, it was forceful. It was like, like a lot of the photos that we had in the past were just like, my face, I didn't want to be there. And then now looking back, it's a sad thing to witness now, to be like, bro, you were that stupid. But yeah, I took a lot of accountability for it, and we communicated a lot. We talked about it a lot. And then I told her just the life lessons I've learned and where I've been at in life and how I see life now. And I said, I can't take back anything, but I see things now. I said, and unfortunately, it had to be like everybody else. You have to lose everything to finally see what you had. And I said, and that's where I'm at. I said, I lost everything, and that's where I'm at. I'm someone who's now empty, looking at the life that he could have had and making the best of the life that he has now.
Do you feel lucky that you got your life back?
Yeah. Luck is not even the word. That's blessed. He is the God of second chances. And he gave me my life back. You ever, like, for me, you ever say, I wish I can go back in time with what I know now?
Sure.
I got that chance. I got to have my family back, and I have so much more wisdom that I gained on what not to do, that it became the best gift that he could ever give me. Mm. And that to me means the world. Even when I get upset nowadays, or even when I have my, like I get whatever, and I'm like, I'm going to go back to, no, you're not. Shut up, bro. Shut up, bro. You're not going to do nothing. Like, damn well you're not.
Wow.
Because you know exactly what that life, you've been down that road. You've lived in that road, and I'd rather not. If I don't have to, why? And that's where I'm very blessed that I got that second chance. And now my kids love me, and we're all in the same room, and we're family vacations now, and we go to events together. They show up to my fights now, and it's a trip. We do life together. And that's something I never thought that I was going to be happy with. I never thought being a dad was going to bring a peace and enjoyment and fulfillment to my life. I never saw my dad happy and smiling like that. So I just thought the job was provide for them, and that's it. But that's just half the job. The real job is being there with them, knowing them, knowing their crush, knowing the fact that they can talk to you, knowing their life. If anyone asks you a question about their favorite color, this and that, that means you know your kids. They know you. They're comfortable enough to talk to you. So that's where everything changed for me.
Wow.
And yeah, now we're here.
So good, man. It's so good. I am happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm happy for you, man. I had heard stories of you getting in trouble and neighborhood things, and I think the biggest thing what you said is you found peace in your mind, in your heart, amongst your family, and how God gave you that peace to peace in your attitude of wanting to fight the world, or jumping out the car, things like that, where you're like still battle for some of those things, of course, but to say it's cool, I'm good. I got a good life, and how the God of second chances, like you said. Second chance to say, man, he gave it all to me back. You know, I got a dad that loves me and a mom, you know, that they're there, and sisters that God touched and changed their life. And now you get your wife back and your boys and being able to raise them in a different way. And you could have been a bitter guy and went down totally that rabbit hole, but God fully restored you. And what a blessing, man. And what a blessing still to be young. Like you said, you lived a lot of lives, man. 31 years? 33 years. I mean, cool, you know. I mean, but to get it all back and to go to that far end and get it back and be blessed, and I'm happy for you, man. It's a great thing.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So yeah, like I said, it's a blessing. Because I know a lot of people, I till this day, I know a lot of people who never got that chance. And I could see it when they come over and they see me with mine. They're like, hey, bro, man, I'm happy for you. And I know where that's coming from. I know exactly where that's coming from. That's you imagining your life and going, damn, man, what I would do to have my family back.
Right. Because
some people don't care, you know, and that's a whole different thing. But to those who really, you know, come back and think about it, they're the ones that usually go, hey, man, like, don't lose it. Hug a bro. No, I can't. If I really do lose it, then that's just the dumbest thing that I can do, and that's spitting on his blessing.
Yeah. It's definitely. Happy for you, man.
Thank you
for you. I appreciate you coming out, man.
Thank you for having me out, bro.
I mean, and sharing that stuff, you know, being very, very vulnerable on this podcast, man. I think, you know, part of the healing, you know, of being laying down the pride and being vulnerable and telling your story, man. It was even better than I thought it was going to be.
Right on, bro. Let's go.
And I'm happy for you, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming out, bro.
No, thank you for having me out, man.
Hey, we do one thing, man. I know we were serious a lot through this podcast. We like to have one thing at the end.
Well, shoot it.
Have a good time.
Shoot it.
Me and Camo call this the Street Gospel Furious 5. We ask you 5 furious questions.
5 what?
Furious questions.
Furious?
We call them furious questions.
All right.
Yeah. You ready for this?
Shoot it.
Question number 1 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. If I'm in the HA and you owe me lunch, where are you taking me, bro?
Man. That's a hard one. You trying to go healthy or not healthy?
Bro, we already talked about this before we started. We ain't going healthy, bro.
We're not going healthy?
No, man. We're keeping
bro, we're going to the street corner tacos.
Let's go.
It don't matter what street. They're all good.
They're all good.
Yeah.
They don't wash their hands. Nothing. We're getting it grimy right there.
Yo,
those are the best spots.
They have the best food,
bro.
I don't care who. Every one of some of them I go to, they're different, but for the most part, they're all good.
Because like we said, it's homemade.
And now they take Zelle and everything too,
I know.
so you can do whatever you want. You just walk up. They do Apple Pay, whatever.
I know.
I'll be walking without my wallet. I go, let's go.
Yep.
Taco de pastor on me. Let's go.
Yep. There was a lady by the job site working construction. She was there for like 2 weeks straight, bro. So I was like, man, one of the guys like, oh, you know, let's go eat some tacos. I was like, oh, bro, I don't got no cash on me. He goes, bro, she has a sign right there. Her phone number is Zelle right there. I was like, let's go.
They do Zelle everything. So yeah, just some the corner of the street tacos, you know.
All right, I'm coming through.
All right.
I'm coming through. Question number 2 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. If you weren't a fighter and you could pick any career, what would it have been?
Firefighter or pilot?
A pilot.
Yeah.
Firefighter. Still risking it.
Somewhat.
Put it out there. Is that what you wanted to be when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's still time.
Well, they're because I like their schedule.
Oh,
the
yeah.
firefighter schedule. They're on for 7 or 8, and then they're off the rest. And then even when you're on, you're with your homies, you're working out, you're doing everything, so you're still staying in shape.
Yeah.
And then you're out there, saving people and saving lives.
Yeah, that's good.
And then pilot was just a dream for me to travel the world.
Nice.
I've always wanted to travel the world. I wanted to see different places, locations, cultures, foods. So that was where the pilot thing came from.
Still got time.
Yeah.
You can go right there to Torrance Airport right there, bro, or whatever.
Yeah, we do got Torrance Airport.
I know. You're
right.
There. You go right there, get your pilot's license. Brian, after his career in the UFC, he's a pilot now. You know what I mean?
That'd be dope. I like it. Actually, I like that.
Why not, bro? You can do it.
Get hired for United or something.
There you go. Question number 3 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. If you could, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but if you could pick somebody in your division to fight, who would you pick?
Someone in my own division?
Yeah, and it's not being disrespectful. It's
No,
just you think it would be a good fight.
I would run it back with my losses.
Okay.
Yeah, any one of my losses, I would run it back with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's Diego, whether it's Max or Volk.
Does that burn as a fighter? Like, let me one more chance.
It's something that, as a competitor and a fighter, I want to make it right. You make mistakes, you correct them, and you make them right.
Right.
I want to do the same thing that I do in my personal life, in my business life, in my work life, which is, hey man, you guys got me. You were better. Let me go back to the lab. Let me just work on me so hard, and then let's see if you can do it again.
Right.
And that's just my mentality. I'll fight all of them over and over again until I beat them. That's my mentality.
I'm gonna put this out there. Maybe it'll happen. I think you should fight Aljamain Sterling.
He's called me out, and we've been cool, and then it's just been weird. But
I mean, he's that type of guy. But I think just.
But we have the same manager too, though. So
you do.
And the UFC was not really a fan of that fight.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm not too sure the politics behind that.
I would just love. I think you guys, it would make a good fight. But if you got the same management, that makes it tough.
We have the same management, and we've been cool before in rooms. But the fact that he spoke out and said, "Hey man, I'll fight you," then it's like, all right, cool. Then that means we only one of us has that type of respect. So.
Because you're not the calling out type of dude, right?
No,
you don't disrespect.
Really,
I mean, you've been disrespected at some press conferences and stuff like that.
Little things like that, yeah.
People saying little stuff, but I don't see you as the, capping back or trying to, Sugar Sean O'Malley.
I do my best to stay quiet, but if you push me enough, I'm like Paul. I'll still slash your ear out a little bit, man.
Peter, bring that.
Peter. Yeah, Peter, my fault. Yeah, Peter.
Bring that strap out.
Yeah,
he was ready.
Not the strap, but yeah, if you want it, you can get it.
All right. Question number 4 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. If you had one message to give 15-year-old Brian Ortega, what would you tell 15-year-old Brian Ortega?
That's a good question that gets hit up a lot. I wouldn't tell him nothing. Will not tell him nothing other than just stay strong. That's it. You're not gonna change. You're not gonna listen. There's nothing that I could tell myself when I was young. Then only something that even right now I'll remember is just like, hey bro, like, do you speak Spanish fully or no?
A little bit.
I would say mantente, like just hold your ground. That's it. Cause don't lose it.
Wow. Everything that you
it's gonna get rough, bro. Just that's it. No one told me it was good. I built this fantasy life that when I make it, it's gonna be this and this, and then be like, bro, no, it's not. So just
stay strong.
Let's go.
Everything that's gonna happen to you is gonna make you.
Yeah.
If you hold on.
Yep.
It's a crazy way to look at it.
Yeah.
Crazy. Most people tell them, don't do this, don't do that. But you said, nah, everything you're going to go through is going to make you who you are. Dang. Question number 5 on the Street Gospel of Furious 5. When it's all said and done, and people are going to give you your flowers, what do you want them to say about you? What do you want your legacy to be?
Heart. I have heart. No matter what has been thrown at me, no matter what my circumstances have always been, I always had the biggest heart. And not only that I come out of a lot of stuff, but I always came out good. I always came out loving still. When the world or myself, whatever, threw me down, I came back up, I still showed nothing but love. I got a big heart.
Wow. Definitely, bro. Definitely have a big heart in the octagon, outside the octagon. Sometimes too much heart in the octagon. This dude, that's the only way you know.
Yeah.
Right? I appreciate you, man, coming out.
Thank you, brother.
So, where can people find you at? I know everybody knows where you're at, but online, what's your Instagram?
Everything, I put it under Brian T. City.
And then you have the filming thing going on too, right?
Yeah, YouTube, Brian T. City. Everything Brian T. City.
Brian T. City.
Yeah.
Triangle City?
Yeah.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
I think for a long time, everybody didn't know what the T stood for.
The thing is Torrance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Triangle City, though.
Triangle City. It used to be too long to say Brian Triangle City Ortega. So then we just put it T City, and then being Torrance, people thought it was like Torrance City. And then now I wanted to change it so many times because I don't even do triangles anymore. But it just, I don't know, it just stuck.
That's
and
it.
then a lot of people were, hey, what's up, T City A? City A, what's up? So I'm like, all right, I guess that's my name.
That's your name now. Who gave you that name?
Henner.
Oh, he gave it to you?
Yeah. Henner, when we were bowling, said you're Triangle City.
Dang.
And then it didn't fit in the bowling name, so I put T City. And then that was it. It stuck.
Oh, appreciate you coming out, Brian.
No, thank you, brother.
Much love, brother.
Much love.
We out. Street Gospel. Peace.
Hey.